So hello everyone, my name is Becky with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we are going to be doing our command overview. So we'll be going through the ins and outs of command, the different things that you can do within command. I will go ahead and say that this is an overview. At the beginning, we'll be jumping more into the back end stuff that you would need to know, and then we will jump into the applets, the different applets. It'll make more sense as I go through, I promise, if you're not familiar with command and the different terms there. But we do have classes on a lot of the information. So there will be some parts that I won't go too deep into. Just again, it is an overview, and it does tend to take most of the time we have. And so I will have to trim out some, but we do cover them in our classes where we go more in depth on the different applets. And I'll point those out to you when we get there. Before we get started, though, a couple of things. First of all, if you are here with me live, if you have any questions as we go through, please go ahead and drop them in the chat as you have your question. I'll do my best to get them answered in real time, especially if it's something I can answer quickly in the moment. If it's a more in-depth question, I may have to save that for the end. Again, it's a lot of information to cover, so I want to make sure I can get through our class material, but also I want to make sure that I can give you a good in-depth answer instead of just trying to quickly go through the answers to your questions and then keeping on going. So if it's a more in-depth question, I will have to save it for the end, usually. Some questions will get answered as we go through. But I don't want you to think that I am ignoring you if I do not answer your question right away. I promise you I am not ignoring you. I just want to make sure that I can give you a good answer, which generally means having all of my attention on the questions. So we will get to those at the end for sure. We'll make sure we have time to go through those. So if you are watching this back on recording and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email. Our email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat for all of you here with me live as well. Again, it is just support@scottleroymarketing.com. We are always here and happy to help out, so feel free to email us with any questions, or if you're running into any snags or anything like that, we are here to help out and we'd be happy to jump in and take a look for you. Today's class recording will be available on our YouTube channel in about 24 hours. I'm going to drop the link for that as well. It is just Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube. When you are on our YouTube channel, we do always recommend that you look for the most recent videos. Things are always changing, both with command and the services that we are offering here at Scott Leroy Marketing. So we do just always recommend looking for the most recent videos. The easiest way to do that is using this videos tab right here. It's going to put our videos in reverse chronological order. In other words, the most recent video will be up at the very top and they will get older the further down you scroll. So definitely keep an eye on those. If you are searching for videos, for example, command overview, we're searching for that, you will see that they do not always pull in order. This is based off of YouTube's algorithm. It's not something we can control on our end, but you may just have to look through those to see if you can find a more recent video. Because again, sometimes a not so recent video will be up at the top, like this one 7 months ago. And you may have to scroll down a bit. There should be one from 13 days ago, roughly. We scroll down. Okay, this is further down than it normally is. It normally doesn't take this far to scroll, so in this case, I would recommend using the videos tab if you're only seeing videos from a while ago. Again, things are always changing with command. So especially with the command overview, we don't want to go too far back with our videos. Oh, wow. Okay. So now we're getting to a more recent one, 2 months ago. Alrighty. Yeah, in that case, I would just recommend we do our, there's 1 month ago. Oh, wow. Okay. I would just recommend going over to the videos tab for videos like that. We do our command overview every other week, every other Monday. So you should easily be able to find that under the videos tab. But yeah, so you could just scroll back a bit. Let's see, 2 weeks ago. So we should be right there. There we go. Didn't have to scroll as far for that one. So just something I'd recommend keeping an eye on there is those dates, just to make sure you have up-to-date information. And then without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into command. So if you have never really jumped into command, you've completed your command invite, you are active in command, but you've never really done anything in command, we're going to go to agent.kw.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. They're just going to go to agent.kw.com. They're going to sign in here with your command login, so your KW login credentials. So your username, keep in mind your username is not case sensitive, so we can make this all caps, we can make it all lowercase. It does not matter. It will accept it. As long as all the characters are correct, it will accept it regardless of what the case is, whether it's uppercase or lowercase. Password is case sensitive, so just make sure you're entering that in properly. If you are copying and pasting it from somewhere else as well, just two things to pay attention to, especially if you're like double clicking to copy and paste it from like a document or something. If you're double clicking, sometimes it will not grab any special characters, so you want to make sure it adds in those special characters. And then also sometimes when you're copying and pasting from somewhere else, it will add a space before or after the password. If it adds a space before or after the password, command will tell you it is an invalid password. So just click that I icon. If you're not sure if it's grabbed the space or not, just make sure it's exactly your password, no extra spaces there. And then you can click sign in. Now, if you have forgotten your password, you can click this forgot password button. It will have you enter your username once again. And then you can get an email. It will send an email over to your KW recovery email, which we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But your KW recovery email is going to be a personal non-KW email for the most part. So your personal email will generally be what it's set to. If you are not sure what your recovery email is and you're not getting the code in any of your inboxes, obviously check your spam or junk mail first, but if you are still not seeing that email, feel free to reach out to us. Again, support@scottleroymarketing.com, or reach out to your Market Center staff and they'll be able to take a look at that and help update that recovery email for you to one that you do have access to. So we'll go ahead and we'll click sign in. Now, same thing when we are signing in, sometimes it will send a verification code to our recovery email. So same thing that we were just talking about. If you aren't getting that code or if you're not getting that code or you're locked out because you can't get that code, just reach out to us or your Market Center staff. We can help get that updated. I will show you where you can update that once you are inside command. But if you are, again, stuck out of command, you would need to reach out to your Market Center staff or us, and we can help get it updated for you. Alrighty, we are in our command account here. So we're going to start with working our way across the top, and then we'll work our way down the left-hand side in just a second. When we are here on our command dashboard, everyone's dashboard can look a little bit different. They're semi-customizable. You can click this customize button in the top right corner, and then you can choose what widgets you want to appear. So you can have all of them, you can have only a couple of them. You can just go in and deselect some. You can add them back in, so you can kind of just play around with what you want to show. You can also grab it by these like 6 dots here, and you can drag them in whatever order you want them in. Now, again, the small ones are going to have to stay on the far right, and the large ones will stay on the far left, but you can rearrange the order of them from there. And we'll just click apply here, and you'll see it will update the order you have here. Deletes never contacted, recently active, birthdays, and home anniversaries, or just anniversaries. It is for home anniversaries. Those 4 will stay the same. They will not change. They cannot be customized, adjusted, or anything like that. So those 4 will always stay there in that order. Alrighty, working our way across the top, we have command, which is where we currently are, and we will circle back to command in a bit to work our way down the left-hand side. Next, we have connect. Now, Connect is going to be a built-in resource library for you. So they have a bunch of self-study classes, KW University class material. They have different videos and articles that you can access in here. So you can go to take a class, and that will take you to the events calendar. You can also access that by going to events over here or clicking events here. So there's like 3 different ways you can find those events calendars. So we'll go ahead and look at that real quick. Now on the events calendar, it's going to show your market center. So it'll show your market center's events. It will show your region events, and it will show KWRI events as well. KWRI stands for Keller Williams Realty International. So it's just the short way of saying Keller Williams International, really. So I know some people have been confused about that, asked what it means. So I just want to clarify that. So if you see KWRI, it just means KW International. So you can go in, you'll see all of these events in here. Now, if you are not seeing any events in here, it is not necessarily something to be concerned about. Not all market centers use this events calendar. In fact, a lot of market centers use a different events calendar for at least most of their events. So if you are not seeing events in here, I would just recommend reaching out to your market center staff. They'll be able to help set you up with your market center's calendar. They can tell you what they are using and help get you set up there. So again, not necessarily something to be concerned about if you're not seeing events here. Just reach out to your market center staff. We'll go back to our Connect home here. So next we have the Connect library. Now the Connect library is going to have all of the self-study courses, course materials for Keller Williams University. So you'll be able to go in and see, Ignite class material, we have Breakthrough 120, MREA stuff, Shift, Value Squared. So you have a bunch of different KW University classes in here that you can definitely check out. Next, if you're in Market Center Leadership, there is the Leadership Hub. I'm going to skip past that for now since most of you are likely not in leadership. But if you are in leadership and you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to us via email. We're more than happy to help answer that. But then they also have, material on listings, working with buyers, lead generation, market of the moment, some stuff on command, KW events, welcome new associates, which we will circle back to in a second. Wealth building, industry regulations and resources, leverage, on-demand series, KW culture, and some more through there. There's a lot of options in here. It's just a lot to read through, which is why I'm skipping some. But anyway, we're going to circle back up to this welcome new associates. Now we can go to the top and we can go right here and we can search for, actually, I'm going to say new associate essentials, which is under our welcome new associates section. And you'll see the new associate essentials here. This is where you can find your market center logos as well as the KW logos. So I'm going to go in there, new associate essentials, let it load. And then we have some quick links through here. So we have the logos and branding up at the top. That's where we'll circle back. They have the red label store, get started with profit share, health, vision, and dental benefits, skill builders, some videos and stuff there. And then find inspiration as well. But we'll go back up to our quick links. We'll go to the logos and branding section right here. Now, when we are in here, we'll see a couple different things. So first, we'll see the KW identity and style guide. I definitely recommend checking that out. It is going to be a PDF document that really walks you through making sure that you are staying in compliance with Keller Williams guidelines. So making sure you are staying compliant with their specific brand guidelines. It also has the color hex codes for KW red, the gray, and the 2 different shades of gray that they use in their logos and things like that. So if you're looking to match color schemes and things like that, this is definitely a great resource to check out. We have the ownership statement through here, onboarding guide, and then there's the primary logo collection. So the primary logo collection is going to have just Keller Williams logos. So just the classic KW Keller Williams logo. And then down below, you have market center logos. So through here, you can search for your market center, either by your market center name or number. Number is probably going to be the easiest one to look it up by. So you can search there. And then it will populate your logo right here. And then you can click download logo. When you click download logo, it is going to download a zip file for you. So you will have a bunch of different variations of this logo. So you'll have different color combinations, different file types like EPS, PNG, I believe there's some JPEG in there. So you'll have different file types as well as different color variations. So if you want the classic red, gray, red, gray, black, if you want all white, things like that, they have different color variations, and you can download all of them just using this button right here. Moving down, you have the Keller Williams logo variations. So these logos are going to have your primary logos through here. So again, this is what we saw up above right here, the primary logo collection. So it looks like that. It just has a preview for you. And then the primary logos using the words realty and real estate. And then you have all of the informal logos as well. Same thing for all of these. All of these download buttons are going to download a zip file that has different color variations and file types so that you can find the logo that you need. All right, we're going to go back out here to our Connect learning here. I do see a question, does the Command app have KW University classes in it? That's a good question. I don't believe that the mobile app has full Connect access to it. So I think it's primarily accessible through the web browser. I can double check on that in a little bit, but I believe it's primarily available just through the web browser. Alrighty, so we're going to go back out here to, actually we'll go to Command so we're back in a familiar place. So right where you are signing in. The next thing, again, we're working our way across the top. The next thing we have is Command MC. You'll see that on my screen. Now, most of you will not see that on your screen. Again, that is for Market Center staff. So we're not going to jump into that today just for the sake of timing and not being applicable to most of you. If you are in Market Center staff and you have questions about Command MC, again, just feel free to reach out to us via email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. We're happy to help answer questions. We're here to support you as well. I just don't have the time to jump into that today. Next, we have these stars with KWIQ or Quick next to it. So this is going to be KW's built-in AI assistant. So you can ask it questions about Command, about real estate in general. They have some prompts in here that you can use. Now, when you are using AI, again, it is always important to note that AI is not perfect. It is a tool, but it is not perfect. So always make sure you're reviewing for accuracy. It can definitely be a great starting place, but it's not always going to, give you perfect answers there. So just make sure you're kind of checking on that as you go through there. Alrighty. Next, we have this storefront logo, which is the KW Marketplace. I'm going to open that in a new tab. So when Command was built, it was built by agents for agents. And so in keeping with that, they went in and they created the KW Marketplace, where you can purchase integrations with other third-party platforms that don't normally integrate directly with Command. So you can go in, we can go to our technology and integrations. You can connect Twilio, BrokerBot. They have, that one's actually new. They just added that one in. Different API nations. So you can go in and you can sync those and help, get those connected to your Command directly if you want to go in and do all of that. So again, that way you can have it integrated directly with your Command. Next, you're going to see this notification bell, and we'll have all of your notifications from Command in here. So different Command notifications are going to be tasks due, like you can see on my screen. If you are looking at, if you have an opportunity and you've submitted it for compliance, or if you are and you're, waiting for your Market Center staff to get back to you. If you've split PDF documents in there, if you've exported contacts or things like that. So you'll see those notifications in here. It is going to be based off of what you have access to. Now, when you have that, you can go into all notifications and filter by the different applets you have access to. We can also click this settings cogwheel up here at the top. We can go in and choose what we have access to. So in here, we can see, again, this is going to be based off of what different applets we have access to. So if you're Market Center staff, you have more, just because you have a whole different category with your Market Center, your Command MC. If you're on a team, you may have some different ones. But you can go in, we can go, let's see, we'll go contacts since everyone will have contacts. But you can go into your contacts and you can change your settings in here. Now, these grayed out ones with the lock button are going to be permanently enabled for the desktop in-app, which is right here. So you can go in, you can't adjust those. You can adjust for the mobile app ones, but those are just going to be some very important notifications that you'll want to make sure you're receiving, which is why they are locked, permanently enabled so that you can't turn them off. Now you can go in, you can turn on or turn off mobile in-app notifications, which are going to be the notification bell in the command app, as well as mobile push notifications, which are going to be what pop up on your screen when you go in or pop up as a notification on your mobile device. So push notifications pushes it to the home screen of your phone. Okay, we'll go back to our command home here. Next thing we have is our name right here. If we click on that, you will see the drop-down menu appear. If you are on a team, you will see two different accounts here. You'll see your personal, which will say your name and then it'll have business after it, or you will see your team as well, and you can toggle between those accounts. First thing we'll look at here is my profile. Now, my profile is going to be a built-in internal facing profile for the most part. So this biography and headshot, that'll show to your market center staff, but it's not going to show to anyone else except for other KW agents through the referrals applet. It will show them there, but it will not show on your website and things like that. That'll be done through your marketing profile, which we will circle back to at the very end of class, just based off of where it is located in command, just so we kind of have that flow here. One exception to this being internal is the languages. So if you scroll down, languages spoken, this part will show on your website and things like that. So the languages spoken will show wherever. So that one will transfer over. But the rest are going to be internal facing. Your real estate license. If you are not seeing your real estate license here and you are, a licensed agent, you are a licensed agent, you will want to reach out to your market center staff. They'll need to update that on their end. If the expiration date is wrong, if the license number is wrong, anything like that, again, you would just need to reach out to your market center staff because they do have to update that on their side of command. Next, on the left-hand side, we have My KW. This is where you will see your KW UID, your KW start date. This is also where you can set up your KW email. Now, we do have a demo account right here, and Command is not going to let us create KW email since this is a demo account, but you would have access to your KW email through here. And then you also have your personal information. Your KW communications email is one you do want to make sure you have access to. Any important official KW communications are going to come to that email right there. So just make sure you have access to it. It does include if you are exporting contacts, it will send a copy of the file over to this email. So just something to keep in mind. Next, we have account access, which has your username, so you can edit that. You can reset your password through here if you need to. And then you also have your recovery email, which we talked about at the very beginning. So if you are able to access your account, but you need to update that email address, you can go edit right here and it will allow you to change that. Down below, you will also see My Affiliations. Now you may see one above your market center name that says MLS IDs is, I believe, what it is, or My MLS. I do not recall exactly what it says. They've changed it fairly recently, so I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's one of the two. It will say MLS on there. So if you have joined an MLS and you have that MLS ID added, you would see it right here. If you are not seeing an MLS ID here, but you have joined an MLS and you should be seeing an MLS ID here, again, that is one other thing you will need to reach out to your market center staff because they will need to update that on their end. So just a few back-end settings here that your market center staff would adjust. But other than that, it's really up to you there. Next, we have your market center name, which in this case is Lynchburg for our demo account. But you would have your market center name here. So those are the market centers you're in. If you're in multiple market centers, you would see all of those names here. You will see your role in the Market Center. If it says unlicensed associate and you are a licensed associate, you're an agent in command. That is one final thing your Market Center staff has to update on their end. That kind of goes hand in hand with updating your license information. You'll have to activate you as an agent in command. Once you've been activated as an agent in command, you will see your cap status here. So you'll have a little graph that will show your how you're tracking for both your company dollar and your royalty caps. So you'll see those through there. Alrighty, back out here to command. Back into the drop-down menu, we have Marketplace, same thing we looked at up here, so we'll skip over that. Next, we have Settings, which is going to be our back-end settings, some more of those. So you'll have your connected applications. So if you're connected to Lone Wolf, you'll see that here. Any social media pages you have connected, and then any other platforms that you can connect will be down below. Now, if you don't have these connected, they may not be in the same order. So you may just have to scroll down a little bit to find the different applications. What I do want to highlight in here is your command email. So your command email is going to be a built-in email where you can send emails through command, whether it's through smart plans or email campaigns, one-off emails, things like that. Your command email is going to be separate from your KW email. Your command email is going to say agent with some numbers at mailers.kw.com, I believe. So that is what the email address will show. They do keep them separate primarily for your own sake. So if your command email got marked as spam, it would not affect your KW email. So they just keep it separate to be able to not cause any trouble in shutting down your KW email or things like that. So just make sure you have access to your KW email. That's why they would keep them separate at this time. But you can go ahead, you can click manage. Now you will probably get a notification like this. So let me grab that verification code. Did go to our recovery email. Let me grab that real quick. Go ahead and verify that. There we go. So you'll be able to go back in. So we'll scroll down and we'll click manage again. Anytime you see that pop-up notification within command that looks like the one we looked at before and where we entered the verification code, it's kind of an additional security measure because it's considered more private, personal information. So it's more important, I guess. But they do have it, behind that password protected wall or verification code. Now, anytime you do that and it gives you the verification code and you enter it in, it does not automatically bring you to this pop-up or wherever you were trying to go. You will have to go back and click that button again. So you would just click manage, and if it gave you a pop-up, you would do that. It would take you back here and you would just click manage again to go back in through there. Once you are in here, you'll see your monthly account usage. So you'll see the number of emails you have left. Each command email has 5,000 free sends per month. So you can see where you're at on that. You can manage your subscription to purchase more if you would like. And then your email configuration, you can update the sender name. And then you can also update the reply to email. So if someone replies to the email, the command email, where does that reply go to? So you can go in and you can adjust those. You can also connect Twilio to be able to send automated text messages through command. It's great for smart plans. A lot of agents do like to use Twilio. You do not have to use Twilio. It is a paid subscription. You are not required to use Twilio. I just want to be clear on that. It is not a required thing for you to pay for. If you want to use it, obviously you would have to pay for it. But there are workarounds to not have to pay for a Twilio subscription. So just wanted to highlight that. But again, a lot of agents do like to use Twilio. So back out here. Also, drop down menu under our name, you'll see command training. That's going to bring you directly to KW Connect. It'll bring where we were earlier in the command training section. Next, we have this question mark in the top right corner, and this is going to have guided tours. They are currently unavailable, but next you'll see Keller Williams University, which is actually going to bring you to answers.kw.com, where they have KW has created articles on how to do pretty much anything and everything in Command. So they have different articles on everything in there. You can go in and check those out. You'll see chat with support. If you ever need to get in contact with KW support via live chat, you can do it through this button here. And then we have post and ideas. This is going to bring you to ideas.kw.com. So in here, remember when I said earlier that Command was built by agents for agents. And so in keeping with that, they created ideas.kw.com, where you can go in and share ideas of features you would like to see added to Command. So you can go in, you can search for ideas that other agents may have posted, and you can vote on them. More votes on an idea means that it'll kind of be higher on KW's priority list to review. It'll let them know it's important to a bunch of different agents. You can also post an idea if you're not seeing yours. So you can go in and post it, and other agents will be able to vote on it. I have seen several ideas implemented from KW Ideas, so I definitely recommend checking this out. If you have any features that you would like to see in Command that would be useful to you and your business. They cannot guarantee that every single idea will be implemented for obvious reasons, but they do actually guarantee that they will go through and read through all of them and consider each suggestion. So it's definitely a great place to make your voice heard when it comes to Command and different features within Command. So again, I have seen several ideas implemented in the time I've been here. So they do check those, they do review them. I've seen it for sure. Go back to our Command. And we have successfully made our way across the very top, and now we are going to work our way down the left-hand side. So these are all what are called our applets within Command. So you'll see they're all represented by a different icon. Now we are going to go a little bit faster through this next part of the class, just because there's a lot to cover in here. And we have classes on pretty much everything in this side of Command. So we have classes on pretty much all of these applets. Some of the applets we have 2, 3 different classes on. So definitely recommend checking those out on our YouTube channel. But I'll kind of give you an overview of what each of the applets do, what you can do in them. But I definitely recommend checking out the classes if you want more for, in-depth explanations, walkthroughs, and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this red square with the white KW just to expand that whole menu so we can look through all of them. Now, if you click it again, it will minimize and you can hover over each icon and it will tell you what the applet is. But as you're getting familiar with Command, it may be a good idea to just expand that menu so that you can kind of just always know where everything is. We're going to start out with our contacts applet. So our contacts applet is going to be our database. It's loading a little slow, but it's going to be our built-in database. So you can go in, you can see all of your contacts in here that you've created. You can search by their first name, last name, email, address, or all of the above. So you can search through your contacts. You can filter by who owns the contact or who's assigned to the contact. As the quote unquote rainmaker in your personal account, you'll be able to do that. So you can toggle between those and see the ones you have access to. Next, we have filters. Filters are probably one of my favorite things within Command, just because they are so comprehensive. They have filters for pretty much anything you could want to filter for when it comes to contacts, especially. They have filters in most of the applets, but the contacts applet filters are just spot on. So you can go in, you can filter by the contact type. So whether they're contacts or leads, we've got tags, which is going to be a way that you can filter your contacts, by adding tags to the contacts. And then you can go in and filter by those tags just to kind of group your contacts together. You have your lead source. You can filter by those. Team site connection, meaning have they created an account on your KW agent site or your consumer app. The assignee, collaborator, and owner. So if you're on a team and you have other, or you have, a guest user or something like that, you can filter by who has access to those contacts. Neighborhoods, if they have any neighborhoods or any specific neighborhoods, or you can search for a specific neighborhood on a contact if you need to. Recently active, when it was created, when it was last modified, when they were last contacted through command. Smart plans, so you can filter by any smart plans, no smart plans, or specific smart plans. Birthday, home anniversary, their company, primary address, phone number, email alert. You can also go up to advanced filterings. If your basic filters are not enough, there's more. You can go in, we can go with our tags. We can use filters to exclude certain contacts. So we'll say tags. Oops. Spell, here we go. So tags, so we have our class demo tags already. And then we can also go tags exclude any. And then we can go in and we can include tag. I'm just going to go with this demo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, since it's at the top of our contacts and we can see it right now. So we'll go in, type that out, and we'll click on it. And then we can click apply, and it will remove that contact. So now we're just down to all of the contacts that have the tag class demo, but don't have demo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a tag. So you can go in, play around with filters just to find exactly what you're looking for with your contacts. You can also filter by your custom fields. So if you've created a custom field, you can filter by those. So we can go in, we could say favorite pie is empty or is not empty. There's not as many options through there, but we can go in and say any that have a favorite pie on their contact. You'll be able to see those through there as well. Kind of hand in hand with your filters, we have what's called a smart view. So a smart view is going to allow you to view the same thing over and over again. So if we have this filter right here, we have 3 different filters applied, and this is a list that we want to revisit. We want to, maybe we're working our way through these contacts, and we want to come back over here to this list. We can just create a smart view. So we can go in, click create a smart view. We can name it. You can set it as the default smart view, but basically it's going to allow you to come in. We have our default smart view is with the class demo tag. So we aren't going to see any contacts that don't have that tag. But you can go in and you can filter so that you can return to that specific view again without having to go in and reset your filters again and again and again. So it just kind of saves your changes there. So that's great. That even applies to if you are changing the sorting. So whether you're sorting by first name ascending, descending, last name ascending or descending, if you've adjusted your columns and moved them around, those are all going to apply to your smart view changes. So when you come back to your contacts, it's automatically going to go to the default smart view, which if you have not set a new smart view as your default, that is going to be just the normal view. And it's going to reset to the same order, to the same columns, anything like that. We can add new columns, anything like that. So that's why smart views are great. You can also choose how many contacts show at a time. I think it defaults to 10, but you can go up to 500 contacts at a time to view all of them. We have the option to import contacts here. This is also going to be protected by a verification code. So let me grab that, go in and verify the code here. And then again, same as when we were checking our command email settings, we're just going to go import contacts. Again, we'll just click it again, and then it would allow us to go through and import contacts. We can create contacts individually. There's a ton of different fields you can have for contacts. And then there's more because, again, custom fields. So you can go in and add their contact information, their mailing address, their about information, so birthday, home anniversary, relationships, and then you can have custom fields as well. So there's a lot of different options so that you can have a comprehensive database here. Moving right along, next we have our tasks applet. Tasks is going to be a built-in to-do list here. So your built-in to-do list will filter your tasks from your opportunities, from smart plans, tasks you've created individually for contacts. All of that is going to show up in your tasks applet. You can go in, you can check your tasks off. so that you can mark them off your to-do list here and kind of just go through. Once it's been completed, we'll move over to the completed tab. And then if it's been archived, you can see it in the archived tab as well. Next, we have smart plans. Smart plans are going to be a set it and forget it type plan. So you can go in and create a recurring email. You can create a newsletter. You can, if you have Twilio connected, you can send out automated text messages. So you kind of just have a ton of options for what you can do with this. You can have it create tasks for you, so on and so forth. So there's a ton of things that you can make a smart plan do for you. Send out automated emails and texts is probably the biggest thing, but also creating tasks. So you can kind of see what those look like. You can create custom smart plans through there. You can see any that you've created or you've added to your library. But you can also go over to the smart plans library where you can find any that have been published by anyone. So any smart plan that's been published at any time and is still published, because the publisher can't, whoever publishes the smart plan can remove it or unpublish it. But as long as it's still published, you'll have access to it here. So you'll see the featured ones. There's 12 different ones that Keller Williams has created. 2 of them are for Breakthrough 120, which is a self-study course within Connect. But the rest of them you'll be able to use. I mean, you can use those 2 outside of Breakthrough 120 as well. They just probably make more sense in the context of Breakthrough 120. Next, we have top rated. So those are just going to be ones that have been rated through here. So you can look through all of those. Next, you have what's new. These are ones that have just been published. So any that have just been published will show up here. And you can see that all of these were like today and yesterday. So they were just published through there. We can also search smart plan name, author name, description. So search there and you'll see any smart plans that Scott has published. Through there, he does go in and create a new newsletter every single month. So you can definitely look at those. So you can go in and grab those. Now just keep an eye on the dates through there just to make sure it's, up to date, because we have been doing this for a couple of years now. So you'll see we have some newsletters from 2024. So just kind of something to keep in mind. All right. Next, we have the Referrals applet. And the Referrals applet is where you can send and receive referrals to other KW agents. So it's just within, the scope of KW. Now it can be across the country. It's not your specific market center necessarily, but it's KW agents. This is how you can send out referrals. So you have your dashboard, which will show your pending invites, pending referrals, any sent and received referrals. Under My Referrals, you'll see sent and received, as well as you can toggle over to pending or active. So you can it looks like both of those are currently toggled on. Next, I'm going to look at the last one. You would see My Network here. So you would see any agents that are in your network. Again, demo account, we don't have any in here. But then probably the coolest thing about the Referrals applet is the Referrals map. So you can go here, we can zoom in on an area. We'll just start zooming in here. Let's go down here. And once we zoom in enough, you'll start to see agents populating on the right-hand side and some pins populating on the map. We may have to zoom in a bit. This might be a very large area. So we'll start to populate. We'll give it a second here. If it doesn't, we'll move to a different location, see if that populates for us here. I'm going to, oh yeah, found too many agents to display. So I'm going to move over here just so it's not as many. And we'll zoom in a bit here. There we go. All right, so this view of the map is the production view. So you will see all of these map pins are going to be for agents that have sold a property in that area. So each of these map pins represents a property that was either represented by KW for the listing agent or the buyer's agent. So you would see those map pins there. Now, again, it's production based off of the past 12 months. So if you are looking for yourself and you are new to KW, I don't know why I just toggled over to too many agents view, so it started finding more. I'm just going to zoom way in on here. So you'll just see those starting to populate. If you hover over the map pin, you'll see the agent there. Now, this is great if you have a, maybe you have a contact that you're looking to find a referral agent for, and that contact is looking in a specific neighborhood. You can go to the referrals map here. You can zoom in on a specific area, hover over the map pins here, kind of find agents that have sold in the past 12 months in that neighborhood. So you would see those populating right there. You can go in, looks like it just froze. I'm going to try refreshing it here. We'll see if it'll reload here. Otherwise, we'll open up command again. But you can also switch to market center view. There we go. Now it's refreshing. So you can switch over to market center view, which will show agents in those market centers. So we can go over to market center view. And then we can zoom in. I'm going to go to a smaller area here. We'll just go in here and you'll see based off of market centers. So you can go in and find agents in those market centers. Now, again, this is not production view, so this is going to show all KW agents through here that are in this market center. We can move over to a different market center and we would see different agents appear. And this doesn't, matter if they've had production in the past 12 months. You can also search by associates here. So if you're looking for someone specific, you can. Next, we can toggle over to my network and you would be able to see where any agents in your network are. Now, again, we don't have any agents in our referral network here. So we're not seeing anything here. We can also toggle to referral patterns. Referral patterns are awesome. They allow you to see where referrals are sent and received kind of within the scope of KW referrals within the referrals applet. When a referral is sent out, where does it go? Like, where are a lot of those referrals going to? Now, a lot of the times, especially from in big cities, you'll see from, for example, Austin, Texas to Austin, Texas, Austin to Houston, Austin to San Antonio. So you'll see a lot of Texas up there. Texas is also pretty big. So you'll see a lot of, the same state through there for the first couple, but then you'll start to see other states starting to appear here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with a smaller one. I'm going to go with, we'll go Albuquerque. Go ahead and change that so you can see, there we go, it's spread a little bit more out. Only 2 of them are still within New Mexico. And then we got Texas. So this just kind of shows you where you may want to find referral partners. Knowing, based off of your center point location, where a lot of referrals are going to. So maybe you want to start looking for referral partners in those areas. You can also see received referrals through there. So where are the referrals coming from when they are coming to Albuquerque? We have a bunch in Arizona. So maybe you want to find someone in Arizona here. Anchorage, Alaska. More Arizona. There's a lot of Arizona and the one random Alaska in there. That's pretty cool. So you can kind of just see where those referrals are coming from, and you can kind of play around with your center point location there if you want to do that. Next, we have the opportunities applet, and this is where you will enter and manage your opportunities or your transactions in Command. So it's where you will upload documents to submit for compliance to your market center, where they will give you feedback on those documents, where you will submit commission requests so your market center can pay you, and things like that. So your opportunities, definitely important. So you can go in and see your different pipelines, listings, buyers, leases. You can go to your opportunities tab and see all of the opportunities you have in there, or you can search by opportunities specifically. Next, we have our marketing applet. So you can create paid ads through here. You can create email campaigns. It will have email designs that you can connect to your email campaigns. Social post campaigns. You can kind of schedule out your social media for up to 364 days in advance, or direct mail posts or direct mailers as well, where you can send out postcards to specific areas through there. Next, we have the reports applet. Now, reports are also going to be based off of the different applets you have access to. So if you are a market center staff, you will have more options through here than an agent would. Team could affect that as well. I'm going to go in, we're going to look at communication reports because I believe everyone has communication reports. So I'll just kind of show you that one real quick. I'm going to go communication reports. And I'm going to go to email reports here. So you can see your delivery and engagement reports for your emails. So the number that have been delivered, number that have been opened, clicked on, the links in there clicked or unsubscribed. And you can view the details and you can see the email address that unsubscribed, what email you unsubscribed from or was unsubscribed from, and you can kind of just see those details through there, as well as your reputation metrics down below. If you have been reported as spam, you would see that through here, and you can see how many marks you as spam and kind of keep an eye on that so you can make sure you're not at risk of getting your email shut down. Next, we have the listings applet where you can sync your MLS to be able to kind of keep an eye on all of your listings through here. The listings applet is not a replacement for your MLS. You do still want to be using your MLS. So just something to be aware of. It is not a replacement, but it does kind of bring it into command so that you can view all of your listings through command as well. But again, you just have to upload your listings to MLS and things like that per whatever your local guidelines are there. So you do need to upload those generally through your MLS like normal. Next, we have the website applet. And in here, we have access to our KW agent site. Under settings here, this is going to be our marketing profile. So this is going to be the profile that is external facing. So this is the information that shows up on your KW agent site. It's the information that shows up in email campaigns, any of your campaigns and things like that you're going to see through here. You can go in, you have your site settings, so you can go through and adjust all of those. So if you're on a team, you can adjust some of those more specifically. All of the personal accounts do kind of show as a team account, as it were, just because it's a business account, kind of gives you some additional access so that you can add guest users for agents. If you have other agents or, admins or something like that that you need to give access to. But then you also have the agent profile. So you do want to make sure both of those are filled out. Anything with a red asterisk is a required field. I do always also highly recommend filling out your agent license number here, as well as adding your team logo if you have one, uploading those there, just because those do help with your email campaigns and things like that if you send them out. Back out here to our website, we can go in and we can manage the website here. So you can go in and click manage website. And you can go in. There's a couple of things you can update through here. So a couple of things you can view, create through here. You can add blog posts through here. Design Studio, you can change your font and your color schemes as well. But most of the editing that you would do would be in expert mode right here. So if you go up to expert mode, it's going to pull you into the back end of your website where you can go in, you can customize your pages, you can create custom pages, and you can kind of edit that information through there. And then you can also view your website in a browser, just kind of takes you there directly. that is all we have for today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this recording. If you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. If you are not sticking around for questions, thank you for joining me. Hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and a fantastic week ahead.